We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live boxing ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to your live. Terence Bud Crawford retires. You heard me right. Retires Shawn Porter. We're going to talk about that in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Couple messages before I get started. Talking about Crawford Porter as a fight. First things first, I want to say thank you guys all for the continued support. Everybody who clicked my link, my affiliate link for Crawford Porter. Appreciate it. We did great, per usual. The Boxing Ego watch party, we did great, per usual. And I can't thank you guys enough for the support that you show me on YouTube. I want to give some thoughts. You know, the Boxing Ego watch parties are great. We have a lot of fun. It's entertaining. But this is where I get to rap to y'all and, you know, break down the fight, tell you what I've seen, and, you know, a little bit calmer fashion and not in real time. Now, I only watched the fight one time. Congratulations to Terence Bud Crawford. Remains undefeated. Becomes also the first person to stop Shawn Porter in what started out as a great fight. And I'm going to explain that. Now, Shawn Porter came out in this fight very aggressive. He looked like, for all intents and purposes, pretty much the same Porter. Stutter step, some good feints. He was like creating angles and, you know, really just out there trying to create some complexities. And when I say he started strong and fast, I mean it. Like he threw like some looping and like wind up, like just wide shots at Terence Crawford. Now, throughout the fight, one thing I noticed that Shawn Porter was doing very well is Shawn Porter was explosive and agile, and he was closing distance pretty fast, and he just kept catching Crawford when he would do that. You know, it was really, to me, Crawford was really challenged. This was probably his most challenging fight at the welterweight division. You know, like I'm used to seeing Terence Crawford, and this is exactly what I told you guys. When Terence Crawford was fighting the previous guys that he fought to Shawn Porter, even though he got a knockout here, these knockouts become harder to do. Like he did it, but it still becomes harder to do. I think Shawn Porter there's a lot of moving parts, different dynamics. And, you know, I think he pushed him. Now, good thing for Terence Crawford, he has a lot of faith in himself and he's very highly competitive. Now, I did notice throughout this fight, I feel like Terence Crawford, he was throwing more singles. I'm used to him throwing a lot more combinations, and he didn't really get to the combinations until like fully until moments where like he hurt Shawn Porter in the 10th round. That's when he started letting his hands go. So he was worried a little bit more in this fight about not just, you know, outgoing, but what was incoming and maybe receiving some shots. So all in all, it was a very good fight. Shawn Porter, he did as good as he could for as long as he could. There were moments where Terence Crawford there was some showboating and sticking his tongue out, but I don't think that Terence Crawford was in full control in these given moments. And I also seen Terence Crawford, he was clinching more, and there were some times where Shawn Porter was getting him to back up. So I don't know, it was just an interesting fight. Now, on my videos where I talk about the post-fight reaction, I give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is Terence Crawford, he stepped up and fought a guy we're familiar with, and he became the first to stop him. So these are good things for Terence Crawford. He remains undefeated. He keeps his WBO belt, first to stop Shawn Porter. Good thing for Shawn Porter is he's had a hell of a career. He did announce post-fight in his post-fight press conference that it was over. And I'm going to get to that in a second. But he says he's dedicated his whole life to boxing, and the time is now. He said he considered retiring after the Errol Spence fight. He was going to retire, but for whatever reason, he said he had some more left in him. But as far as the bad and the ugly, I'll just lump them in because it's kind of more or less the same things. I thought the stoppage, different people are going to feel different ways about it. Some people are going to say the stoppage was going to get a lot uglier, but I'm old school. I definitely want the fighters to be, healthy. Like, I don't want to see someone lose their life or something, or become paralyzed or something crazy from boxing. But the way it ended, it left a sour taste in my mouth. Like, I bought this fight $70. I got my receipt somewhere. Ordered the fight. The undercard, that's the ugly. The undercard was definitely not it, in my opinion. But here's my receipt, just so y'all know. I don't be capping on these YouTube videos. I don't be capping. So I bought the fight for $70. The undercard was pretty lackluster. The fight, the co-feature ended in a premature cut stoppage. Then they had to go to scorecards. Weren't really like sensational fights. But the bad and the ugly for this particular fight is, in my opinion, the way it ended. The way it ended, it just left you with that kind of sour taste in your mouth. I have no problem with Crawford winning. I have no problem with Crawford getting a stoppage. And, some would argue that it was inevitable. But the way it ended, since Shawn Porter stood back up and the ref was counting and it looked like let him continue. And then Shawn Porter's dad, Kenny Porter, who I know, he elected to throw the towel in. To me, it just, I don't know. The fight was amazing. For the first 9 rounds, even in the 10th round, the fight was amazing. But then all of a sudden it came to a screeching halt because it ended in not so traditional fashion. Again, some people are going to say, oh, Terence Crawford was going to body him and get worse. But at the end of the day, people are paying $70 to watch the fight, and Shawn Porter stood back up. It's an anticlimactic way to go out. This is one of the things that Deontay Wilder was imploring to the fans and to the people. He said, man, I'm a warrior. I got power. I'm always in the fight. If I'm doing good in the fight, you don't just sweep the rug from underneath my legs. And then look at how Crawford's walking away. That's funny, bro. That's funny. He's like, you don't just do that. Don't just take me out. Let the ambulance or the stretchers or, them people come and take me out. And that's kind of the same thing here. Post-fight, Kenny Porter explained his angle and his side. He says he stopped it because Kenny Porter said he stopped it because Shawn didn't train how he wanted him to. And a lot of people are like, damn, he just threw him under the bus. So I thought that part, that's the bad and the ugly. Just how it played out. People would want to see in general, or at least me, I want to see more in general, a more definitive. It ended because the ref stopped it. It ended because Shawn Porter couldn't continue, and we all seen that. But a lot of people that watched it in real time, they're like, nah, Shawn Porter, he was buzzed, he was hurt, but it looked like he can continue. And one thing that was extremely weird and seemed kind of cinematic, like almost scripted or something, like some movie, like Creed 3 or Bloodsport or whatever, is when he got dropped, Shawn Porter's like, start punching the ground. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, what is he punching the ground for? And I still don't understand it. Like, I understand nobody wants to get dropped. You don't want to get embarrassed. But Shawn Porter got dropped versus Adrian Broner in the 12th round. got dropped versus Errol Spence. Maybe he got dropped, you know, in other fights. I don't remember that type of reaction. And I like whatever, I don't know what was going on in Shawn Porter's mind, but he started punching the canvas real hard. And it looked to me like he started punching the canvas before the corner had even stopped it. So I personally didn't really understand what was happening there. So he was mad before the fight was even stopped. You know? It looked like he was mad before the fight had even been stopped. So I didn't really get that sequence. You know, if you guys could let me know in the comment section what you make from it. And his body language was weird. He was like ripping his arm off, and he was cussing. He just looked mad. I don't know. So I guess he wanted to continue, but either way, he ended up retiring. And, you know, as it sits, Terence Crawford retired him, you know. See, look. He started punching the ground. And the ref is not even looking. I don't know. It's just a feeling and intuition. The way the fight ended, I was just like, what was that? Like, what happened? What? And you don't like, in my taste, I don't like when I'm watching a fight and there's any level of confusion. I think boxing is a beautiful sport. It's the best sport. And there shouldn't really be any confusion as to what's happening in the action. It's just like, okay, this guy hurt. Okay, he's on the ground. Okay, rightfully so, the guy can't continue. Boom. So anytime there's any type of disconnect or wires are being crossed, and you as a fan can't understand what's going on or why, like, if somebody could let me know why he was punching the canvas, let me know in the comment section, because to me, he started slamming on the canvas and punching the canvas. And then when he got up, the ref started counting. So he was going to allow him to continue. Right. So it was almost, look. The ref started counting. So it's not like the fight was stopped. It was almost like it was a signal or something. And he just stayed there like, and then Kenny decided to stop it. So it was just, I don't know. To me, it was a bit anticlimactic. You guys let me know. You guys let me know in the comment section. See? So he says 6. He stood up and he says 6. And it looked like the fight was going to continue, and Terence Crawford ready to pounce on him. So I just think that, I know I can't be the only one. You guys let me know in the comment section. I know I can't be the only one that when a person gets up and they want to finish the fight and they got the heart, Shawn Porter's already showed heart, especially where he was in this fight. Some people even had him up. Some people had him down by a round or two. But either way, to me, it was a close fight. So I just prefer when it's so conclusive. It's like a surgeon. I like that clean incision instead of a jagged, you know, you use the serrated blade and it's all jagged. It's a jagged cut. And I think, hey, Terence Crawford could have jumped on him and then just like created a third knockdown. And then the ref was like, nah. And then no one could say anything. So, you know, it is what it is. The other thing, the dynamic I thought that was weird is just the relationship and how Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter acted post-fight. Kenny Porter threw him under the bus and said he wasn't training how I wanted to. And then post-fight at the press conference, he said, I knew before the fight even started, I would throw in the towel. I just thought statements like that were a bit unique. You know what I'm saying? Like, how did you know you were going to throw the towel in? So it was like, it made it seem almost like it was rehearsed, or, you know, coming to find out that Shawn Porter had retired right after. To me, this means that there was probably lingering conversations, and what it sounds like, that Shawn Porter's heart wasn't in boxing anymore, and he had picked up like the podcasting and doing the commentary with Kate Abdo, and found that passion. You know, who wouldn't like that? You don't get cuts. He got a nasty cut over his eye. You get to talk. You got your faculties. You're on a mic. You're talking. You're suited up. And maybe he was into acting or something, I believe, when he was younger. And it sounds like he's developed an affinity for that. And then with the pandemic, he had been off for a minute. Terence Crawford had been off for a minute. But Terence Crawford is one of the best finishers in boxing. Two, he's still all in with boxing. To me, I don't know if it'll come out at some point, but it seems like Shawn Porter knew this was like a write-off and like one last payday type of thing. And it was like, we're gonna roll the dice this one last time and go big, try to beat Terence Crawford. And he even said it. Terence Crawford, he said, after this fight, win, lose, or draw, I was gonna pack it up. And he said he was gonna hang it up after the Errol Spence fight. So to come and find that stuff out after the fact, it's not necessarily the best feeling, because we as fans, again, we're spending $70. We know Shawn's pedigree. We know Terence Crawford's pedigree. So I had no knowledge of, hey, he was about to hang him up. You know what I mean? Or like this could be his last fight. So it just seemed like, to me, he knew that he was going to roll the dice. He was going to roll the dice big and try to go big or go home and try to dethrone Crawford. And he was going to hang it up either way. So it kind of looks like you're doing one last. It's like one of those movies like where somebody's a bank robber and they're going to do like one big last bank heist and then they're going to ride off in the sunset. Or Carlito's Way. Okay, I'm reloaded. You guys think you big time? Here come the pain. You know what I mean? Carlito Brigante, he's trying to go straight, and he's doing all this stuff, this illegal stuff, and he's trying to get out that game, and he want to retire in Miami. You know what I mean? And be with his lady. That's what it kind of feels like with Shawn Porter. Like, I don't know. So you almost feel duped. And I'm not blaming that aspect on Terence Crawford. He showed up for the assignment. He's an awesome finisher. He's an awesome fighter. He's dope. So he can't control. He don't have to worry about none of that. All he has to do is worry about showing up for the fight, and that's what he did. But you almost feel a little bit duped because it looked like, I mean, you guys tell me in the comment section. Kenny Porter just said, I knew I was going to throw in the towel before the fight. So to me, and then he's also saying Shawn Porter wasn't training like I wanted him to. So, you just feel like a little bit duped, because at the end of the day, you're like, damn, okay. So basically Kenny is saying the going got tough. He knew that he was going to throw in the towel. Like he wasn't going to let his son go out on his shield. He didn't want that. He didn't want that to be the highlight reel. And to me, I think that's, I'm not saying it like, trying to be sinister or macabre, like, oh yeah, we all need to see your son get knocked out. But that's boxing. You think Telly Swift and Wilder's team and Malik Scott needed or wanted to see Deontay Wilder get knocked out, completely exhausted by Tyson Fury? But that comes with the game. So I feel like, I understand the live to fight another day and these different sentiments, but I feel like where Shawn Porter was in the given fight and how the fight was playing out, and the fact that it was 2 more rounds, maybe you just allow to see if he could survive out the round, or maybe even if he got dropped a different time, or if he just, to me, if he looked a little bit more unsteady, but you got to, at the end of the day, give credit to Crawford, because he produced 2 knockdowns in a singular round. Broner didn't do that. Errol Spence didn't do that. And it is what it is. But, I'm not going to spend too much time. Like, to me, the debate on who would win, Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, that's not a case closed type of deal, even though he stopped Shawn Porter and Errol Spence didn't, because I don't believe too much in the triangle theories, because different times, different training camps. Again, to me, it looked like Shawn Porter, based on what it doesn't even look like. He told you. He said he was going to retire no matter what the outcome is of the fight. Now, I didn't know that as a fan, so that just shows you where he's at. He was thinking of, I've always been very specific when it comes to fighters talking about retiring. I think if you're talking about retirement in the sport of boxing, I feel like you should retire. Don't fight no more. That I can't tell a fighter when to hang it up, but that when you're putting that in your head that, hey, you know, I'm thinking about retiring, or I want to do commentary, or I want to do my podcast, I like these things better now, you know, or whatever the situation is. I think at that given moment, that's when you should retire, because this is not the type, it's a young man's game, and it's a very dangerous sport. And, you know, if you have that in your mind, then to me, I'm not going to say it's the same as quitting, but when the going gets tough and you've already instilled that in your mind, you're kind of, it kind of can become a way out, where it's like, you know, I was thinking about retiring already, you know what I mean? And, you know, before I become someone's highlight reel, let's just end it. And that's what it looked like almost with why Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter, you know, why the fight was ended like that. You see what I'm saying? And it kind of reminds me of this. If you've ever played Madden online and then you're scraping somebody, and then it's the fourth quarter and there's less than 2 minutes left, and it says the player has requested to concede the game, and then you have the option, you say, no, I want to keep it going. And then the next thing you see on the screen is a message that says the opponent has left the game. So when they do that, it still goes against their record, but it just ends in a non-traditional fashion. You know what I'm saying? And that's what this fight, that's why I'm saying anticlimactic. And it's kind of hard to believe a fight where it ended with 2 knockdowns in the end was anticlimactic, but that's what it felt like. It felt like this player has left the game, as opposed to the time running out and then it ends like the game normally ends. And it just looked like Kenny Porter didn't want to see that, or he knew his son, you know, maybe he knew more than us. Like maybe Gervonta was getting the best of Shawn Porter in sparring. I don't know, but maybe he knew he had conversations that Shawn Hart wasn't in boxing anymore. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. And it looked like, you know, that's why it ended. So I can't be sure. This is kind of just my overall feelings on what I've seen on the fight, but props to Terence Crawford. But I still think the Errol Spence Crawford conversation, because to be honest, I seen Crawford didn't look like invincible the same way he did against them other Jeff Horns and stuff. This was not that type of fight. I thought this was extremely competitive. Even points of the fight, Andre Ward had Shawn Porter up. So a lot of people are using these triangle theories and rules. Some people are smarter than that, but some people are using these triangle theories. Well, hey, Bud Crawford stopped Shawn Porter, and Terence Crawford was the only one to do it, and Errol Spence didn't. So that means no, it doesn't. Because, I mean, using that logic, Jaron Boots Ennis destroyed Thomas Delorme in 1 round. That's why I don't do that. That's why I don't do those triangle theories. Jaron Boots Ennis stopped Thomas Delorme in 1 round. Stanionis didn't do that, and it took Crawford, I believe, 6 rounds, and I thought he was losing the first 5 rounds. He definitely didn't stop him in the first round like Jaron Boots Ennis, but this is again why triangle theories mean nothing, because different time for Delorme. Jaron Ennis is a different fighter. They're different years. Delorme had already been stopped by Terence Crawford, etc. So you got to factor in all these different things. You can't just look at it like, oh, Shawn Porter got stopped, but this is also a Shawn Porter that had already been beaten and dropped by Errol Spence years before this fight, you know? So it is what it is. Errol Spence is a beast. Shawn Porter, you know, hell of a career. Terence Crawford's a beast. And it's between them as to who's the best welterweight right now based on accolades and accomplishments. Jaron Ennis, he's definitely the future. But, you know, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on the fight. So let me know what you guys think. Were you happy with the stoppage? What was your takeaways? What was your takeaways from the fight? Was it an easy fight for Crawford? I mean, y'all let me know in the comment section what you agree with, what you don't. That's my time. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. signing out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.